How do these $7 Copic markers compare to this 50-cent Ohuhu brand? We're about to find out. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. And sometimes we do a little product reviews. Now, if you know me, you know I'm a big fan of Copic markers. I use them for a lot of the illustrations I've done. I've been doing marker rendering for a while. When Copics first came out, or when I first became aware of them, it was like a game changer for me with that nice brush tip and everything. Super cool. But the problem with Copics is they are super expensive. And a lot of people, it's just not in the price range, and even for me, having to like refill them and stuff when I run out. So I did some searching around and I found these. This is the Ohuhu brand. I hope we're pronouncing that right. But this whole pack of markers, these are alcohol-based markers, just like the Copics. They don't really have that nice brush tip, but these are only like 50 cents a piece. This is a 40 set of markers for like 80 bucks. And they also, I think they have a smaller set, like a 40 set for $20. So that is like super cool. So, but you know, we got to put them to the test. I mean, are these things gonna, how can these stack up to these? Because these things retail at, you know, if you're lucky, you can get them for $7 a piece. Kind of pricey, but so I don't know. We're gonna find out how these work, so let's give them a test run. All right, I'm gonna do a little side-by-side comparison with the sketch I did of Frankenstein's monster. On the left are going to be the Ohuhu markers. That's what I'm using right now, and I'm just going to switch off with each color. I'm going to go back and forth, so I'm going to fill in all the greens, or this particular shade of green in the Ohuhu, and then I'm going to go over to the Copic marker. And of course, so the Copic will be on the right, and I'm just using a photocopy. If you guys, I don't know if you guys have ever, if you have any of these alcohol-based markers, and that's the good thing about both of these, and I'll kind of go into the pros and cons on both of these different markers. But I really like alcohol-based markers, and they tend to blend pretty well and everything. So that's the big thing that we're looking at when we're comparing these sort of off brands to Copic markers. And again, here you see me kind of filling in with the Copic with this particular shade of green, and I'm trying to get as close as I can with each one of these colors, and I don't always succeed because it just kind of depends which markers I have. So some of it's not going to be exactly the same color, but I'm going to try to get as close as possible. But anyway, going back to what I was saying before I kind of got off track, but if maybe you're nervous about going over your original art with markers, or if maybe you just want to preserve your original line art, these alcohol-based markers work really well over photocopies or like laser prints. I don't think they work so good with like laser jet or inkjet, sorry. But laser prints, color copies, or not color copies, just regular copies, you will be adding the color with the markers is the whole point of this thing, I guess. But anyway, so if you just make a printout, then you can go ahead and ink over, and that's kind of what I did here. So I obviously I didn't draw this same exact drawing twice, but so that works really well. Also, as far as other inks, I tend to find that with alcohol-based markers, manga ink works a little better than some of the stuff that's, you know, American made, I guess. For whatever reason, those tend to smudge a little, at least in my experience, so I always kind of go with the manga ink. But anyway, so I'm going to go into some of the pros and cons. I kind of focus more on the Ohuhu because that's kind of weird. I think Copics or Copics, however you want to pronounce it, is sort of that gold standard. So I pretty much love them. The only thing I don't like about them so much is the price. So that's kind of the con. Everything else, most everything else about Copic markers is pretty, you know, straightforward and it's all good. So anyway, so as far as the pros of the Ohuhu brand, the major pro, of course, is just the price. I mean, it breaks down to around 50 cents a marker, maybe a little more, but somewhere in that range, depending on what kind of deal you can get on Amazon and everything. I do like the carrying case that the Ohuhu comes in. It's sort of a canvas zip-up bag, and it's nice because it's portable. My Copic markers, it comes in a plastic case, and it's nice, it's sturdy and everything, it's good for the home, but it's not really something you can take around wherever you go. So if that's something you're interested in, the Ohuhu does have a nice little portable carrying case. And they come in 2 different sizes. There is a 40 marker set and an 80 marker set. I opted for the 80 marker set. The caps, as far as the color, it's a little inconsistent as far as the colors on the caps. Some of them are like dead on, and then some of them are off quite a bit. So it might not hurt to make like a little color chart, but I find that's the case with the Copic markers as well. Also with the caps, a thing I really do like is that if you snap the cap off, you can put it at the end of the other side so you don't lose it or anything. I think the newer version of the Copic markers you can do that, but the ones I have are older and they won't do that. So you just got to set the cap somewhere and then it rolls off the table and you lose it, and that's not good. So that was one of the cons. But like I said, I think they've rectified that issue. Yeah. So also the Ohuhu markers, they are sort of the shape of them. They won't really roll off the table, which is the same with the Copic markers. I keep going back and forth between Copic and Copic because I don't know the actual way to pronounce it. I think it kind of depends on where you're from. But anyway, so those are some of the pluses with the Ohuhu markers. Some of the cons. The big con is there is no brush tip. That is one thing that I have not been able to find with some of these Copic alternatives. But I kind of started drawing without the brush tips on some of the other markers I had before I bought Copics, and so it's, even though I do like that brush tip, I can kind of go back to that, and it's okay. It's not ideal, but again, this price probably is the big factor. so you got to take that into consideration. The other thing, there's no refills, but again, everything goes back to the price. You don't really need refills because you can just buy a new set. Speaking of sets, you have to buy the set. They don't sell these markers separately. So if one runs out, then you're kind of out of luck. You have to pretty much buy another set. So that's, that can be problematic. You can't really pick your colors, but they give you a pretty good variety. The only thing is the lighter skin tones, you don't get a lot of those. Once you get into the darker skin tones and the browns, there's more variety there, but some of the lighter skin tones, you don't really get a decent variety of that. The markers tend to go down a little dark, and they threw it, as far as colors, you do get good colors. There's a lot of blues and greens, which I like in particular, because I always do like sky backgrounds and things like that. So that's one of the things I really like, and I use greens a lot too. So other than the fact that there aren't a lot of lighter flesh tones, I do like the variety of blues and greens that you get with this, which I don't really get with my Copic markers, and like my blues are almost, are almost gone with my set because I use them so much. So but yeah, and they throw in a couple fluorescent markers, which are kind of useless. I mean, it's like a highlighter basically. I mean, they don't really work with these types of illustrations. If you have to highlight some text or something or make a note of something, I guess it would work. But it seems weird that they would throw those in there because they're not really, they don't work well with any of the other colors. And they tend to bleed a little more than the Copics I found, the Ohuhu brand. It's a little hard to vary the tone, which, if that's the look you're going for, if you're looking for a more solid look, you may like that aspect of these markers. But, I guess just in conclusion, all in all, I mean, for the price, you really can't go wrong. I mean, they aren't the quality that the Copics have. I wasn't really expecting that, but it's a really good alternative. And for somebody like me who already has a set of Copics, this is just going to be something that I'm going to add to my arsenal of markers, and it's going to be great because they are very compatible with other markers. So, I'm kind of of the opinion, just get as many different markers as you can. When they run out, go switch, go with what you have. And Copics are kind of going to be my staple, but these are sort of my backups and my fill-ins and things like that. So that's how I'm going to use them. But, if you're just starting out, if money's an issue for you, these are a great starter set of markers. I would highly recommend them for the price. And so just looking at these side by side, you can see the Copic markers are a little more vibrant. But sometimes you want a little more of a subtle look, and you might like the effect that the Ohuhu brand has. Now, again, some of the colors I couldn't get very, like the purples are kind of way off. Those are as close as I could get with the different markers. So that's my review, and all in all, Ohuhu markers, yeah, it's a recommend. So there you have it, Copics versus Ohuhu. Can you guys tell the difference? What do you guys think? Do you have a preference? Whatever the case is, if you're thinking about getting into some markers, I will leave links to both of these so you guys can check them out. Try them out, tell me what you guys think, and I will see you guys later. That is all. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me here in the Art Lab. There's a lot of other great content on the channel, so click that subscribe button and you won't miss a thing. If you're an aspiring evil genius, visit Serkworks.com for all your mad science supply needs. And if you want to contact me, hit me up in the comments section or follow me on social media. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you then.